Right now, it's all about the Culture Kitchen. I am so fired up because finally I'm going to be having a conversation. She's in the building already. Dr. Evelyn Nganga. She's a consultant, pediatrician, and allergy specialist. Karibu sana, Dr. Eve Nganga.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Correct. How was your day, though?
Busy. Busy but good.
Yeah?
Actually, one of my class that I attend said I need to shout out to them. ISB, class of 2,
Nice.
2025.
Yeah.
So if you're listening,
Yeah. That
we're
sounds so
live.
millennial. It's okay. Shout out to those guys. So it's really good to see you. And I know tonight we're going to have a very, very important conversation. The allergy epidemic. Is it really an epidemic?
Oh, yes. If you look at the last 50 years, the number of cases for allergies is really rising, not just in the West, but even here in Africa.
I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we used to think allergies are for certain people, so obviously the West or people who are more well-to-do.
Yeah.
But actually on the ground, things are very different.
So before we get into it, this whole conversation, I mean, are we over-diagnosing or undermining the problem? So what inspires you to do what you do?
I think for me, it's the chronicity of allergies. And when we come in and assess the child and make them better, we literally improve the quality of their life.
Right.
So for me, that's what drives me. If I can improve the quality of that one child, that they can sleep better, that they can attend school, that they can even wear shorts and, short-sleeved attire because their skin is well, that's what drives me.
Yeah, and you've been in this space for how long?
Well, as a doctor, since it's been more than 15 years. As an allergist, I'd say the last 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And how is it going? It's good.
It's going great.
Yeah.
I mean, even for me to just specialize in this space, it's because I'd been seeing lots of kids having allergies and nowhere to send them. So now that I'm back and able to give this information, education, and treatment, it's been fantastic.
So, for starters, because I know there are some probably younger folks who are listening to us, or even older guys who just don't really understand what an allergy is and how the body's immune system reacts to trigger it. So maybe you can just explain it to us exactly in detail what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to start because I feel like people throw around the term allergy to just depict different things. But basically, an allergy is an abnormal immune response to an otherwise harmless substance. It's just as simple as that.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So you'll find that a majority should not be reacting to that particular thing, but a particular person's immune system reacts to that thing.
And so why exactly are childhood allergies on the rise?
That's a good question. So over the years, as I said, like in the last 50 years, a lot of research has gone into this. And one of the things we find is with industrialization comes, air pollution, comes westernization. So our diets change from traditional diets to more westernized diets. We become cleaner.
What? And that's not such a good thing.
And so it's not necessarily such a good thing. So the cleaner we are, then the more we predispose our children to allergies. And actually, when I think about even the COVID period, I feel like children who were born around that time were over-sanitized to some extent. And people were indoors, no exposures.
Yeah.
So all these dynamic shifts also create these changes in our immune system and our immune system's ability to cope with what is happening around it.
So what you're saying is sometimes it's good to expose your kids or even yourself to certain conditions, certain environments.
Oh, yes.
In order to strengthen your immune system.
Absolutely.
Because I check parents, even they're like, oh my God, no. Where the kids, pana, please, watch huko nje. Let them stay in here. Rather get them a PlayStation, and that's also good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it has to be a balance.
So
we're not saying, throw caution to the wind and expose your children to even, harmful substances or environments.
Yeah.
We're just saying, allow them to be children, allow them to lick that soil outside, allow them to roll in the grass, allow them to have a dog, a cat. All these things train this child's immune system to make it stronger and to be able to withstand, as I said, otherwise harmless substances.
Correct.
Yeah.
So some parents feel their children are being overly tested and overdiagnosed. And so the question is, as a society,
Mm-hmm.
do you think medicalizing normal sensitivities or childhood immune systems, is it a good thing? Immune responses, rather, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah.
I think it starts with just understanding what it is you're trying to achieve. So when you say you're overdiagnosing, or you feel like your children are being overdiagnosed, it depends on how it started off from the get-go. Is it a child who's been having recurrent issues, in which case we'd need to think outside the box of just infection?
Yeah.
If a child comes for the first time and maybe it's something very simple like a runny nose, I'm not going to quickly say it's an allergy. You get what I mean?
True.
So it really depends on how you start that conversation. So you'll find like a lot of us who are in this space, you'll only receive a child after they have been through other doctors who now feel this is definitely now beyond just the regular stuff that we are dealing with.
Yeah. And so what's the opposite of that? Underdiagnosed, how does that look like?
Well, the truth is there are certain parts of this country where there are no allergists. And so for us, even as a society, is to try and reach those people, to educate the healthcare workers in that space to be able to pick out what is and what is not an allergy. So there's a lot of discrepancy in terms of who gets exposure and treatment and who is underdiagnosed. So this is a huge variation, not only happening here in Kenya, but happening globally.
Right.
Yeah.
So common allergies, because I'm imagining there's some parents who they're gonna, diagnose their kids by themselves. They feel like they have experience enough. They've got a bunch of kids, so they can notice a pattern.
Right.
I guess, what are some of the mistakes that they do, and what are some of the common allergies that I guess they can look out for? Okay.
So I must say, parents, I love dealing with parents in just trying to get to understand their child more. Because at the end of the day, this is a mother or father or caregiver who has spent extensive periods of time with this child. So I will always give a listening ear to what they think could be the problem. That said, some of the mistakes that are made are, for instance, if you are a second child or a third born, and maybe the firstborn reacted to milk, and this third born is now having some certain symptoms, not very clear what it is, people may be quick to start avoiding milk because they assume that it's a milk allergy that's running in the family, kind of thing. Then when they come for testing, they find, it's actually egg. We've been avoiding the wrong food all this time.
Right.
So I think that's one of the greatest mistakes that I see that happen. So it's always best to seek help so that you can get clarity on what it is that is really happening.
Yeah.
The second part of your question?
Common allergies.
So here, what I have seen is that kids are mostly allergic, especially when it comes to food, mostly allergic to milk, cow's milk specifically, and eggs.
Yeah.
That tends to be quite common.
Yeah.
We'll still see some variations around nuts, some people reacting to nuts, and beef, actually. Like just your regular red meat. I've been seeing some allergies. And then some of the shocking ones would be things like chicken. You're like, how can my child be allergic to chicken? Like, how is that even possible? And then lower down on that list would be things like fish, and shellfish, which we see a lot of.
Yeah.
But we're also trying to investigate more of our local foods to see if children are also reacting to the local foods.
Yeah, so those are mainly like foods.
Right.
What about just like stuff? You know what I mean?
Environmental.
The environment, what's around them?
Right. So the commonest is dust mites. I always tell people, we can't live in bubbles, and dust mites are everywhere. There's these little microscopic creatures that are found in multiple things in our environment, starting with carpets, couches, mattresses, pillows, etc. Secondly would be grass. And then third, believe it or not, is cockroaches.
Okay, cockroaches I would understand. Grass.
Oh yeah. Especially during like after a rainy season, grass has grown, lawns are tall, people are mowing.
Yeah.
And then you just notice whenever your child is out there, they come back with red, itchy eyes, runny nose, sneezing away, congested. When you test, you find it's actually a grass allergy.
So that's, excuse my ignorance, but so this is mostly for kids in urban settings, isn't it?
No.
Even in remote areas?
Even in remote areas. We get patients who come all the way from Mandera.
What?
Wajir, in very remote areas where you don't even expect allergies.
Yeah.
But they're there.
And in terms of dynamics? Okay, apart from is it like? Can you notice maybe a pattern, like a trend? Is it mostly girls who are allergic to stuff? Is it boys? Is it like kids from a certain region, maybe? Even in Nairobi, yeah? Like, how, from your study, how does it look like?
So there is no sort of like more allergies in boys or girls. I actually see it quite equally. Like we'll always have boys having this, girls having this. So there's no predilection towards one particular gender.
Okay.
When it comes to like the different geographical regions of the country, I would say different allergies will occur in different places. So for instance, in urban areas, so you'll find a lot more of these milk and egg allergies, and also like dust mite allergies, because you have all these carpets and couches and all these other things. In northern, like the northeastern areas, because of the people who are living there, so either immigrants or people of certain origin, you'll find because of the exposures they're having, like I'll give an example, we had a child who was reacting to sesame or sim-sim, because culturally they use it to massage the baby's skin, they use it to cook, there's lots of exposure. So you'll find geographically it will vary, not just within Kenya, but even around the globe. That certain allergies, like for instance, you'll find seafood allergies in places like Japan or Asia, as opposed to here, where our population is having more of milk and eggs, as opposed to peanuts and all these other things.
And before we take a short break, do some people develop certain allergies as they age?
Yes, and it comes as a shock sometimes. So, when you look at allergies, it actually can manifest at any point in your lifetime.
Okay.
Yeah, in your life course. It doesn't mean because as a child you are not allergic and now you're an adult that you cannot develop an allergy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
If along your, first of all, genetic code, you're already predisposed, and then you happen to be in an environment long enough to trigger that gene, to switch it on, then you'll develop your allergy at whatever time point that will be.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question is yes.
So what I get is it's dependent on your immunity as well.
So a lot of it is
stages of your life.
Yeah. So immunity may play a role as well. So if you find yourself very stressed, so like your work environment, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. So we find a lot of people coming with certain reactions that when you dig a little deeper is stress related. I see that a lot in adults.
Right.
And of course, stress also alters your immune system.
Yeah.
So it can either make it hypofunction or even hyperfunction.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So guys, if you're just joining us right now, we are with the amazing Dr. Evelyn Nganga. She's a pediatrician and allergy specialist, a consultant as well. And you work at the Nairobi Hospital, isn't it?
Yes, I work at the Nairobi Hospital, but I also have my own practice.
Oh, obviously. I was even very surprised when I found out that it's an epidemic.
Right.
Yeah, things are getting crazy. It's funny because the more advanced and modern the world is becoming, the more exposed we are to all these, all these conditions and diseases and stuff. First of all, I find it very fascinating when you said we shouldn't expose our kids to too much cleanliness. It's such a facade. Like, I know the parents were like, how now?
Yeah.
The kids have not even stepped out since, I bet you, probably Sunday. If it's not having PE in school, they're always indoors.
Right.
It leads me to my next question. So how can parents tell the difference between a mild reaction and a life-threatening one?
Okay.
You can give us examples and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a very important question. So usually you'll find that for allergies, because it's an immune system driven reaction, you can literally manifest in various ways. Okay. So we call it mild if it's affecting just one system. For instance, a child has eaten something and their skin reacts, breaks out into hives, and there's no advancement of that reaction.
Right.
That is mild.
Yeah.
Or they go out, exposed to grass, itchy eyes, come a bit sniffly, breathing is good, heart rate is good. That's a mild reaction.
Yes.
Now, when we start talking about severe allergic reactions, or otherwise known as anaphylaxis, it's where you have at least skin manifestation plus one other system, or a collapse.
What?
Where you literally have cardiovascular collapse or even respiratory collapse or respiratory failure where this child cannot breathe. Okay, they turn blue, they look floppy, they suddenly reduced work of breathing, or they're removing strange sounds from the chest like wheezing. That is a severe allergic reaction. And especially if you have either witnessed something that they have consumed, or you suspect something, or it could even be an insect bite for that matter. So a child who's been outdoors playing and then suddenly it's just like the child has collapsed, like what has happened, you know? So anything to do with compromise of your heart, compromise of your respiratory system, or skin and one other manifestation. Something as simple as hives and severe abdominal pain.
Okay. So when it gets to those levels, is this a situation that can be reversed?
It can be, but with the right steps following. You have to rush to the nearest hospital.
Right.
If it is a child who's known to be allergic to something and there was accidental exposure, and we know the history of this child and we have seen them, then we'd ordinarily give them an EpiPen.
What's that?
So an EpiPen is this device that is life-saving, contains adrenaline in it, and should be administered immediately so that it can keep the functionality of the heart and the respiratory system going, even as you're rushing to the hospital.
Right.
Yeah. So most people may not even know about EpiPens. Some may not even know how badly a reaction a child can have that can lead to death. Like allergies can actually lead to death. Yeah, I need to emphasize that. And so if you notice any of these things, please rush to the nearest hospital. Do not delay. Do not start calling people. Just rush to the nearest hospital for you to be administered. Either if you don't have adrenaline at home, then you'll go to hospital, they'll give you adrenaline, they'll give you a steroid to try and just control things. If your child is collapsed, you know, those are the things that will happen soon after.
And some of these reactions, are they gradual or sudden?
That's a very good question. So allergies can be split in two. There's what we call immediate reaction. So it will occur within it can occur anytime between 0 minutes to 2 hours. We call that an immediate allergic reaction. So you will not miss it. Okay. Then you have delayed reactions. These ones tend to be more manifest in the gut. So a child who's having constipation all the time, a child who's having this very non-specific pains in the gut. It's not clear what is really, triggering them. Or skin manifestations that occur days later after consumption of something that is unusual. So those are delayed reactions. So the ones we're afraid of are the immediate ones. And those are the ones that require urgent and immediate attention.
Fantastic. So we're going to go back to that point when we just started the conversation where you were talking about how, we expose our kids to, too much cleanliness, hygiene hypothesis, for example.
Right.
So the question here is, does reduced exposure to germs early in life actually affect allergy development in the long run? And how do you create the legit balance now?
Okay.
Yeah, let me just make it sound basic.
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, the hygiene hypothesis, it posits that the immune system has to be trained for it to know what to do. When a baby is born, literally they're dependent on the mom's breast milk to provide their immunity, even as they continue being exposed to whatever is around them, right? And so if your child is in an environment where it's either too clean, meaning they're not being exposed to any germs, no bacteria, no viruses, because the earlier you're exposed to some of these things, then the body is able to tell, this is a foreign substance, this is a bacteria, this is a virus. And they're able to learn. Whenever we see this, we attack. And then when it comes to breastfeeding, it's one of the earliest ways of allergy prevention, by the way. Because as the child is getting these immune cells from the mother, during that period, and they're also receiving nutrition based on what the mother is eating, they're slowly being exposed to small food antigens here and there from the mother's diet. So breastfeeding is also very important in trying to immunoregulate, as we call it, right? So that's one. And then two, at the point of weaning a child, you want to expose them to as many foods as possible during that period, so the body again is able to distinguish what is food, which we should not attack, versus what is the infection that I'm currently being exposed to in my environment. And also, not only infection, but even natural things in the environment like grass. The body is able to tell, okay, this is a harmless substance. This is just grass, right? We don't need to react to that. And then the other thing is when you're allowing your child to go outside and play, and not even just play, but even exposure to animals. So studies have shown very clearly that children born in urban areas versus those born in rural have a very different immune system. So you'll find those in urban areas will have more predisposition to allergies as opposed to those born in rural areas.
Yeah.
Just because the immune system has been trained along the way.
My Kisi kids can attest to this conversation.
So when you have a child and they're able to crawl, let them eat that dirt on the ground. It's not going to kill them.
But let me ask you something. So I remember back in the day, I never used to like the pawpaw.
Right.
So I hated it. So I'm not going to say that I was allergic to it. But I guess my question is, as now the kids grow older, is it possible to now get off that allergy? And maybe if it was like maybe the eggs,
right,
you used to react badly with them. Can they now recover from that? I don't know if I'm using the right word.
Yeah.
And again, now start eating the eggs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, one of the two foods that most children will outgrow with time is milk and eggs. So initially, if it's causing them a lot of harm, like for instance, eczema is like very rampant in this country.
Yeah.
So many kids, every other child has eczema.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And so for some, there's a particular portion where it is attributable to foods. So during that period of intense eczema treatment, this child is suffering, they're not sleeping, scratching away, then you'd want to restrict some of those foods for that period. Again, as you allow the immune system to develop and strengthen.
Okay.
And then, not to say that now avoid the food forever, unless it was causing anaphylaxis, the severe reaction that is putting the child at risk of death. Of course, you're not going to give that food. And especially for things like nuts, because it tends to be lifelong. Okay? But if it was just like a mild reaction, as we have discussed, so you can avoid it for a certain period of time under guidance, and then slowly we bring it back into the diet.
Slowly, don't rush.
Yes.
Folks. This thing just force that boy to eat it.
So there's a way we pace it.
Yeah.
Like we pace it, and eventually this child will be able to eat the food.
For real.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So my next question is management and treatment. What practical steps can families take at home, in schools, especially in schools for caregivers,
right,
during travel, in order to reduce the risk, the allergy risks?
Okay,
put it like that.
I think that's a good question. So first and foremost, for you to even know what to do, you need to identify what your child is allergic to. I think that's the first step. So forget about guesswork, forget about, shooting in the dark. Let's avoid this, let's avoid that. What tends to happen is people will have the assumption, for instance, my child is allergic to protein. As a phrase, you cannot be allergic to all protein. So you'll find kids are not eating protein. They're only eating carbohydrates and vegetables, right?
Yeah.
So this is a child who will obviously going to be affected in terms of their growth. So first step is identify what your actual allergy is, if at all it's an allergy to begin with. Once you know that, then in the home front, you'll be able to do the avoidance measures that we always advise our patients. We give them education, we give them write-ups of what they need to do at home.
Yeah.
When it comes to school, so apart from just the parents giving information to the schools, in the next couple of months, we've been reaching out to schools. And if you're a school owner out there and you're listening to this conversation, we've actually been reaching out to schools to see how we can collaborate to bring this information to the school.
Makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that, a majority of the time these kids are in school for 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
The teachers need to know what to do. The school nurse in that school needs to identify an allergic reaction, whether it's mild or severe. And so we're looking to collaborate with schools to get this information out there for them to be, ready and equipped to handle some of these reactions. Because truth be told, some of the reactions will happen in school, and you need to know what to do.
A lot of them actually do happen in school.
By the time you're calling that parent, it might be too late.
Wow, look at that.
So we need to just, and then simple things like having carpets in classes. It's a win for some, but it can be a completely devastating thing for another child because they're allergic to dust mites. And so this child is always missing school because whenever they're in school, they're always sick. But they're always sick because there's a carpet in the classroom that may not necessarily be cleaned with what we call HEPA filter vacuums that are able to suck out even the dust mites. And so the child is always having a runny nose, itching away, nose is blocked. They're always just sick. And so it's this education that then we can say, okay, apart from carpets, what else can we have on the floor for the children? Can we have, wipeable mats that are safe for children? If it's a child who's allergic, do they have a plan in case they are exposed by mistake? What measures does the school have to ensure that this child is safe within their premise? So having action plans, we call them action plans.
I like that. What about for folks who are planning to travel?
So once you know what you're dealing with, you'd have to call in advance to wherever you're going. So be it another part of the country, learn what are some of the exposures that your child may be allergic to that may be found on that side.
I agree.
And before you travel, have your visit with your doctor, get any medication that you require to help you through that period. If you're going to be away from a hospital or far away and it's a child who has severe allergic reactions, make sure you have an EpiPen, make sure you have antihistamines, just like the basics. So in terms of preparation, there's some kids who also react when they go up country because of some of the foods either they eat or it's a place where they have hives everywhere and it's a child with bee sting allergy. So you need to know how to manage in the event of an exposure.
Beautiful, beautiful. Tons of information over there. Finally, what's your message to parents who are feeling anxious, guilty, and maybe they feel like they're responsible of their children's allergies? And how can we foster a more informed, less fearful approach to our children's health?
Right. It's just to say, excuse me, that allergies are not it's not a condemnation for your child. So some allergies, yes, may be lifelong, but with the right information, the right treatments, your child is going to be fine. And you may find as they grow older, some of these symptoms will go away or they'll be less frequent. For certain foods, as we mentioned, a majority by the age of 5 will have outgrown some of these food allergies. And the allergy will be a thing of the past. So the anxiety may just be now, but it's to say that there's actual hope. And then, of course, education. So as what we are doing right now, educating our communities, knowing what you are dealing with, what is a true allergy, what is not, I think would be a way to just foster better management of our children, even as they grow, as they go to school, as they're exposed to all these things. And we are there.
Of course.
We as the experts are there to help you.
You're very resourceful to our country. I was going to ask you, by the way, because these days there's a lot of lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and they compromise our immunity, if I can put it like that. So for folks maybe our age, millennials and that kind of thing, even older, do you think that would, lead them to develop allergies as well?
Well, not necessarily. What I'll say is, so the arm of the immune system that's affected or that results in allergies may be very different from the section that is affected by, say, diabetes or hypertension, right? And at the end of the day, for an allergy to actually manifest, you have to either have some genetic predisposition or a trigger from the environment. Not to say that getting a lifestyle condition cannot further predispose you. It can. But those two are not directly related, is what I'm trying to say. So it's not to say that if you are a diabetic out there, you should now be watching out for an allergy that may come. Not necessarily. But if at any point of your life course, just remember it is possible.
You mentioned genetic predisposition. So some of these things could also be hereditary.
A lot of them are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a good majority are. Yeah, and you'll find it's interesting. Like a patient may come with one sibling, and then the parent realizes, wait a minute, even the other two I've left at home have allergies, just manifesting in different systems.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through to Spice FM.
Thank
After
you
hours.
for
so
having
for folks
me.
who want to partner with you, maybe invite you to another platform and have the same conversation.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're going through an allergic situation. How can they find you?
Okay, so my practice is a pediatric allergy center. It's based at the Upper Hill Medical Center, right across from Nairobi Hospital. If anyone wants to reach us, they can reach us on 0757
Great.
204045.
Yeah.
We're also on Instagram, which is how you reached us.
Yes. I like that. The fact that your contact information was there.
Yeah.
And you responded to my DM.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So we are at Allergy Kenya on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. We really try to push out educational material for people who want to learn. For instance, the use of an EpiPen can be found on our Instagram page. The adrenaline field device that is life-saving.
Some of these terms.
So they can reach us there, and we are more than happy to collaborate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through,
Thank
Dr.
you, Kev.
Evelyn.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah.